How we doing?
All right.
You use the head or anything like that before we start?
No, I'm good.
All right. We'll run through the same stuff that we do, I think, pretty much every time. On this, I know we covered some of this stuff at the jail, but we'll just run through it again. When we arrived this morning, did we interrupt a meeting with your attorney?
No.
And you're here voluntarily, is that correct?
Yes.
You understand we can't talk about anything to do with the Samantha Koenig investigation. If you do start down that path, we'll have to stop the interview and we'll take you back to jail.
Yes.
Okay. Run through your Miranda rights. Before we ask any questions, you must understand your rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to contact a lawyer for advice before we ask you any questions. You have the right to have a lawyer with you during questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you before any questioning if you wish. If you decide to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you have the right to stop answering at any time. Do you understand these rights as I've explained them to you?
Yes.
And with those rights in mind, are you willing to waive them and speak with us here today?
Yes.
As you know, we've got at least one standby attorney appointed in the discussion of other crimes, that type of thing. I believe it's Rich Kerner. It may also include Jacqueline Walsh. Do you have any desire to have either of those attorneys or any other attorneys present today?
No.
Are you on any medications or any other substances?
No.
And are you having any difficulty understanding where you're at or what's going on?
No.
Okay. All right. Good deal. Any questions before we get started?
Nope.
Okay. We wanted to bring you over here today, give you a little bit of information about some things that are going on, but also to ask you kind of where you're at with things. It sounded like you're kind of frustrated with things. I don't know if that's something you want to expand on at all.
Just things haven't been happening for the last week. There were some things that I asked for information on, as well as, well, basically that was the gist of it. And haven't heard anything back, so we'll see. I don't know. Supposedly within the next day or two, I'm supposed to get a more comprehensive visit or information or something, but so far it hasn't happened.
Well, we're not talking anything about Samantha Koenig, but and I've been back east last week. And they gave me a little bit of an update, Israel, but since I've been out of the loop, I wanted to come and see you and let you know maybe the conversations I've been having with other U.S. attorneys' offices. But before I do that, I just thought the same kind of question in relation to moving things forward. You know, where are you at kind of about all this? What's your take on this? Again, not talking about what you're doing with other stuff, but where are you in regard to the discussions we've been having?
Well, I'm same place I've always been. I am obviously a little concerned about giving out a lot more information, especially over too short a period of time until I find out where I stand on some other issues. So, it'd be nice if all these other issues would just work themselves out and resolve themselves the way I want them to without my coercion, but that's not going to happen, so I got to do what I got to do. Yeah. It'd be a lot simpler if I, would just take certain steps so that I could expound upon that a little bit more, but I'm not ready to do that yet, so if I have to, I will, but yeah, as far as discussing things about whether it's the Vermont case or things that happened prior to that, I think that it's probably still going to happen. It's just, I guess the reality sets in for me as to how much more time there is to pass before I may find out anything to find out.
And your feeling is if you give us additional information, it's going to affect other things or not affect other things, or you're going to go over it?
Yeah, it's once I give out the information, then it's gone.
Well, let me just jump in on that, because this is getting, I should say frustrating, but I could almost say it's getting depressing, right? That maybe you feel the same way, that you have been meeting with us now about other crimes for weeks and weeks and weeks, and I think it's getting kind of just downright depressing that we are not moving forward, and I don't think it's because I'm not sure why it is. I mean, we came in here a month ago and laid out that plan that Frank Russo laid out, and because we've been kind of bending over backwards from the U.S. Attorney's Office perspective of saying, look, we're going to work with you, and move the other things forward that are going to need to be moved forward with all the other crimes.
Right.
We all kind of understand that we're going to need to move forward, and so we thought you were on a schedule of wanting to move other crimes investigations forward. We know you want to keep the media down. You don't want to charge other jurisdictions. We know those things. We took them into account, and we came up with this strategy to say, well, let's move them forward, and we really kind of busted ourselves to do that. So we're getting kind of just, like I said, I should be saying frustrated, but I'll start with just kind of depressed about that we're not moving those things forward. And so, what's your view on that?
And the same with law enforcement. This isn't a typical way to move forward with this type of investigation. And for us, it's frustrating, and we're doing it this way because this is the way that Israel wanted to do it. And
so what's your take on our?
This isn't the way I wanted to do it.
Well, just tell us what your take is on that.
Well, my take is, I've said this before. Even though we may at this point all want the same end results, it doesn't mean we're on the same team by any means.
We've always known that. We're not pretending.
So I'm not. I understand that you've got your schedule, you've got your deadlines, you've got things you've got to get done. But honestly, that's of no concern to me. If we can continue to work together and make stuff happen, great. If not, if it's not going the way you want it to, or you're not getting your information fast enough, then do what you got to do. But I already know you'll be back. So,
well, and maybe we've been too honest with you guys, I guess. I mean, we know we know that we're not on the same team. Well, yeah, because if you're saying, I think what you're saying is you're kind of challenging us, and I didn't think that's where we were in our discussion.
No, I'm not challenging you. I'm just saying I know you've got your agenda, what you need to get done, and what you need to. You have to have something to show for it, for your work on this.
Well, but it's sort of funny because we thought it was your agenda that was kind of driving this, of wanting to move things quickly and wanting to keep the media on, and that's why we've been working on kind of your agenda. That's why I'm like, wait a second, this is what Israel wanted.
No, you're right. I mean, it's so far it has gone according to my agenda as much as it can. The issue is there's still a lot of time that's going to pass before I get the things I want. If I give up, I'll give up all my cards right away, and then that's it. I have no control over what happens a month from now or 6 months from now.
I guess I would respectfully disagree with that, because to me the extent that we demonstrate that the plan that we came up with collectively a month ago is working, then that is going to help you get the things that you want. And at this point, we've only really been able to demonstrate that half of the plan is working. And frankly, that's our half. So we did everything that we agreed to do, and you haven't done what you agreed to do.
First of all, I didn't agree to do anything today. I already told you that. So, I told you I've got different agenda now than when we came up with that plan because of things that happened between then and now. So, fine. I changed the rules. Shame on me. But that doesn't really change the bottom line. I'm going to at least find out what my options are. And that hasn't happened yet. So, I understand it put a hitch in the schedule, but, and that's not the only issue right now. There are some other things that we can't talk about, and that's an issue with me too. And I know that, there's a lot of debate that these things aren't connected, but to a certain extent, for me and what happens to me in the end, they are pretty closely connected. So.
Well, as we've said before, we won't talk to you about anything related to Central now, but if you want to request a meeting, we will.
Right.
And if that's what you guys decide, that's totally up to you and your council.
Right.
And we'll make ourselves available, but we won't discuss them now.
No, I understand that. And,
you said you don't want to give up all your cars. We understand that. We haven't been asking you to do that. All your cars, we've been everything. Sure, we'd love it if you just said, yeah, I'm just going to tell you everything. And then, frankly, I would say things would move much more quickly in the end because we'd be working on those and getting them all resolved and getting it all lined out the way we said so that we can control it and you would control it. I would love that, right? You know that. But I won't even ask you that today. I'm not going to say, Israel, tell me everything. I think it would be in your best interest, but you don't see it that way. Fine. I get it. I would ask you to think about that. But we got to start. We got to start the process because that everything takes a little bit of time and we can move it quickly. But if like I said before, we're going to be sitting here a year from now, we've all agreed no, but now a month has gone by, so now we only got 11 months down. And we're going to be. Am I going to be saying next month we got 10 months to go? Because we all agreed we weren't going to be sitting here in a year doing this. So.
Well, believe me, I'm very well aware of passage of time, so I have my own definite agenda on that issue, but as I said, I don't have a lot of control over it. So.
But I think you have more than you think. In other words, if you discuss the other crimes with us, then that means things for it. That's under your control, right? You only decide what you want to tell us. You, Israel Keys, sitting here today, control what you tell us. We then control what we do with it. And we've demonstrated to you, and it's in our best interest to control it.
For now, yeah, I understand. I understand where we're at right now. In order for things to progress, I have to take a guess as to what's going to happen next, I guess you could say. Which is, I don't know, yeah, there's a lot of things that could happen. Even with the information I've already given you, there's a lot of things that could happen.
It's your schedule. I think you said it was our schedule. It's really your schedule that we've been trying to work on. So we can sit here and guess and wonder what's going to happen in the future, and none of us are going to predict, right? I mean, it's whatever happens is going to happen. But the only thing we can control is what we're doing right now. We have a definite, concrete, certain way that we can move forward now that will definitely expedite whatever happens down the line. because, as you know, we've got all these other cars to talk about. We will definitely expedite it, certain, we start now. Everything else is just speculation, so we can wait and see, but time's going to move by.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. It's like the ultimate goal. If that is the ultimate goal, that I put all this stuff out on the table, then yeah, then it's better to do it now. But I haven't decided yet that that's my ultimate goal. Certainly not on these terms. Like I say, there's certain information that I've already given you. So what happens with that? I've already given up control of that to a certain extent. But everything I still have, it's still within my power to decide how that information gets to you. From me to you, as a matter of speaking.
Exactly. And what I'm suggesting to you is you've got a lot of cards to play. We respect that, but we're asking you to play one card. And I think that's in your best interest. I'm not telling you that because, that this is what I think you want here. I've been using your goals all along.
Well, it's not in my best interest today because there's absolutely nothing I gain from it. Just more worries.
But you move the ball forward.
Forward to what, though? There's no objective that I'm moving towards by giving you more information.
When talking about the other crimes, the courier, let's just reuse the courier because we're investigating that. We've agreed to certain things with the couriers and we've lived up to them.
Right.
And so your objective of that, I think, remains the same. Keep it out of the media.
Right.
I'm going to charge you. So we're trying to further those objectives. I mean, that's only one of the objectives, I think, we're mutually trying.
But that's an indefinite objective. The couriers, that's essentially a closed case. I've given you all the information you need on it, and I'll continue to give you the information you need. And if it ever goes to me being indicted for it, then I'll probably, plead guilty to everything. And so that's, you achieved your objective in that. And I got some things out of it. So it's a closed issue. But anything else we discuss beyond that, then that's objectives. My objectives are hazy at best. I don't really have any objectives. I have concerns about it, but until I decide whether those concerns are legitimate or whether I have anything else I want to get out of that information, then there's no reason for me to talk about it. Especially not at this point, because it really, in the scope of the situation that I'm in, not really that much time has gone by. I still don't even have answers on stuff that we were talking about months ago. That's me. I don't have those answers yet. I don't have them.
Are you talking about discussions that we've been having about other crimes? If you don't have answers for something?
Partially, yeah. But
from us?
That's not, like I said, there's some things that, we can't talk about. But yeah, there's... Anyway, neither here nor there. It'll happen. It's just...
And you talk about you're deciding how ultimately the information would get from you to us, and how.
Well, that's
besides you just telling us how.
Right, that's another issue too. Is I may have some options as far as that goes. How to get you at least some information without.
Well, and that's what we tried to do. We tried to give you that ability.
Yeah, that was our idea.
The plan was, you tell us, where in New York, so we can work with them, get their assurances in there, and then when we starting those processes, we can either move them forward or it doesn't.
Well, No, I'm not on New York's attorney's schedule or anybody else.
This was Israel Key's schedule. That's why I thought it was your schedule.
No, I don't have a schedule.
Okay. Well, it's different from what I understood because you told us I want to quickly. I want to keep that.
Yeah, if you're talking about my ultimate schedule, yeah, but that's kind of a ways off right now. So. I'm saying like week to week, month to month. I don't have a schedule right now. I don't have anything to gain from it.
I thought you did have a schedule. When you say a ways off, now I don't know what you're talking about because month to month is what's happening now. Basically, we're moving at. We've gone from moving at a fairly reasonable pace to being month to month. In 6 months, it's going to pass, and then a year is going to pass, and then a year and a half, and 2 years. And I'm offering you an opportunity now to move that more quickly, and I'd like to start with, not even start, I'd just like to move forward on New York, because it's going to move everything, the taste of everything more quickly, which is what I thought you want. If you tell me differently, you say, I don't care how long anything takes anymore, then I understand that's different.
No, I do care about how long things take. I just, first of all, I don't know what time has to do with any of the any information that I give you, because if you think I want to be indicted or charged with any of the other crimes, then you're wrong.
You told us that. We're trying to avoid that, right?
Right.
So avoid that by controlling it.
So I don't understand how giving information is going to...
Well, let's just say, what happens if Vermont says, we thought this guy was cooperating. What if they were to say, we're going to charge him? So they need to charge him Vermont.
Well, they're going to have to wait their turn, aren't they?
Well, what happens? But how long is that going to take, right? That's what I'm trying to say.
That's what my concern is.
Yeah. So right now, they're not charging, but what do you think? Explain to me, what do you think would happen if they do charge? If we say Israel just says, you guys do whatever you got to do, and then they were to go forward and we lose control, what do you think would happen with that?
Well, I assume, I don't know for sure. I assume there's a few different things that could happen, none of which are good for me, from my perspective. So
that's what I'm trying to tell you. Is working with your goals seems to be in your best interest to move forward with New York so that Vermont goes in charge, because Vermont charges.
Well, statistically, that makes things less likely to go my way, because the more attorneys, the more crimes that are involved in this, the more likely it is that one of the states is going to get fed up and say, we're charging them.
We've already demonstrated to you what we can do and explain how it works from our end. Because I don't think Vermont could take as long as they want to take charge. They can take their case as long as they want to take it. And, what happens then? To your goals. What happens to your goals if Vermont...
I assume that puts me in limbo until they get their crack at me. At least I've heard of that happening before. I don't know.
So, do you want that?
Of course I don't want that. You already know what I want.
Well, that's why I guess we're just miscommunicating, because I thought that's what I understood it, and that's why we offered you this plan to control how things progress with Vermont, and just using New York as their neighboring state, right? So we got a way to control things. Now, if we all say that's not going to work, do what you want, Vermont, then we don't control it. They're going to take as long as they take Vermont, and I'm sure they'll be talking to New York then. And let's say then we don't control it, right?
Right. No, I accepted the fact that we don't control. Well, none of us control what happens in Vermont.
Well, I think I thought
or you do.
I thought this letter that they sent was pretty amazing.
No, it was good. It was
pretty amazing thing, and we really worked at this, and they're with us. But if they go away, then they do whatever they got to do as long as that takes. They don't really care what Israel's opinion is. And then New York comes to them, their neighbors, and said, neighbor, we got a problem in New York. We're Vermont. Vermont says, well, your problem is our problem. We're simpatico together. We all got problems. And this is now Israel has no control. And that's what I was trying to avoid based upon what you told me from the get-go. And you've been honest about your goals. But now I'm like, well,
right. Well,
why are we misunderstanding?
The fine print in that letter is that at their directive, they can reassume control. At your directive, all you have to do is say, well, Israel's not giving us any more information. Do what you got to do.
Did you expect something different? Really? No, there's something else we can do.
I don't know what I expected.
There's nothing else we can do. We can't make it. They would never sign
They
something.
would never agree to it.
They're never going to agree to something that says...
I understand that.
Yeah, so
I know I don't have any rights in this situation. All I have is information. So now you're upset with me that I want to control the information.
No, I'm not upset. Upset with you. I said I started by saying it's more depressing, and there's frustration. But
there's going to be a lot of frustration before this is all over. But it's already been years of frustration for a lot of people. So they're going to have to learn to live with it for a little bit longer.
That's a different issue. The frustration and the depression is based upon you getting what you want, and I'm thinking, we're giving Israel what he wants on his time frame, and I've just explained to you what I foresee would happen if the cooperation breaks down on the couriers. And we just said we don't want that because we don't want that Vermont to take over and take as long as they want and talk to New York and do whatever they do. We don't want that. So what are all there's two choices, it seems like.
Yeah, I don't know how. Like I say, that's one of the issues I'm waiting to hear back on. Is what is the most likely path that Vermont would take? Because obviously I've got other problems right now. So I don't know what their hypothetical timeline could be if they get fed up and decide to go their own way on that. I don't know that. I'm not a lawyer. Like I said, I'm sure there could be a whole range of things that could happen with that, the information that I've already given them.
Well, normally, state prosecutions or other federal prosecutions don't move that quickly. So,
right.
We know that if Vermont charges, it's going to be a lengthy process, and they're going to get in touch with New York. New York's going to, have their input about what Vermont does as well, and they're neighboring states, and they work together, and they're going to say, hey, Israel had his chance, Alaska had its chance. They said that they were moving forward. I'm just trying to lay out to you what I foresee related to the couriers in this country. That's alternative B as far as I'm concerned. Alternative A was following on the path we've been following. So, doing nothing is a choice. Doing nothing is basically saying I choose alternative B, which is the longer road and less control.
And I think A and B goes hand in hand for law enforcement. I've told you many times what option B for law enforcement is, and I know you say we'll be back, and you may be right, but at some point in time when people see that there's an impasse, then they're going to say, well, let's try it. He may be right, maybe we're not going to find anything, but we have to look. We wouldn't be doing due diligence if we didn't try.
Right.
With the investigative leads that we do have. So
A or B.
And I know the B is just huge public, media and public-wise. And I just don't want to damage any relationship that we have if we have to go with Plan B.
Well, if that's your only option,
It's not. It's not our only option right now. Right? We have Plan A. We thought.
Yeah.
You realize that. You realize that this isn't going the way. This isn't going like a normal investigation. There's certain things that we would do in this type of situation that we're not doing.
Right.
public and very unpleasant. And
Well, I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, if that's what it's come down to, it's like either I give you information today or you go your own way with it. And that's what it's come down to. You do what you got to do, because I'm not giving up any more information until I find out what's going on. There's a couple more issues.
when you foresee that kind of thing happening?
Well, if it doesn't happen this week, then there's going to be another meeting.
So are you telling us that we can next week sometime we can hold off and next week sometime
Well,
address this issue?
Yeah, we're here one way or the other next week. Yeah.
Because that's something that I can go with and say he's got some issues that he's working through. And
Well, they're the same issues that we talked about last time. It's just nothing has happened yet. I'm hesitant to tackle all the issues on my own. I thought I was going to have some assistance, but
And if you want assistance, Judge, everybody's told you you get whatever assistance you want, and that's your business.
Right.
And we're not going to, I want to be really clear, that is up to you, and that's your choice. You do that, you all want to make sure you have every opportunity to do that. So if you want that, do it. And that's
Right.
your business.
no, I know.
That's clear. We've just been coming to you, being honest about where we are in the process. No one's laid down an ultimatum yet. We're trying to avoid that.
No, that's good. That's what I want to avoid too.
I just thought if I came in here and
you can see we're telling you that you're smart enough. You know that it is what it is. What I'm telling you, what he's telling you is the reality of this.
Yeah.
We're not.
Yeah.
You can move your mic.
Oh, I was.
well, what do you want to talk about today?
Just been thinking that hypothetically, dust drought doesn't really give you all the information you need. Might be kind of like a last minute kind of thing. So I'm not around for the aftermath.
Well, do you think that's realistic?
Do I think it's realistic? I don't know. It seems to me like that would kind of be my call.
Well, but again, like I said, if Vermont goes forward, it's not going to be your call or our call. If Vermont does, and they don't have any reason to move at your pace.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? And right now, we've been working together, so.
Well, I know.
I kind of doubt Vermont is going to
Well,
play that game. I doubt they're going to. I mean, I'm telling you from even the U.S. Attorney's perspective, I doubt they're going to play that game that says, we're going to move forward in Vermont really quickly on the couriers, make sure that gets all wrapped up, and we're going to give him what he wants, and then, but because we think at the last minute he's going to cause everything.
Or I guess that my opinion on that would be with it, the issues with doing it, something like that would be, would you be able to provide us with enough information that we need, and would that lead some type of doubt the way it's being done like that, rather than up front cooperating every step of the way and giving us the details that we need to make the closure, rather than right there at the end when all we're getting is maybe a name and a place, and we might not be able to complete the closure all the way, and there might be some, I don't know, it's just food for thought. Would there be?
Right. No, I understand what you're saying. My concern isn't so much with that. My concern is about keeping things under wraps for the duration of my incarceration, however long that may be. And if I have to do that by giving out little information at a time and continuing to work with you or whoever else, if it seems like that's going to keep working, then that's what I'll do, even if it means more drama that way, I guess. But yeah, it's still better than the alternative.
I think that's logical. One way, I think we just take a break. Try a couple things. Do you need a bathroom?
Yeah, if I could.
All right, so
All right, Israel, we're just picking up where we left off, because you said something that I want to respond to. I think the last thing you said. And then I also want to respond to one of the stuff you said earlier about, hey, at the last minute, this idea that seems that you were interested in, that at the last minute you could just tell us everything, right? At the end of all of this with the couriers, you could just tell us everything. So let's use the courier case in Vermont. As we just explained, we have option A and B. We're looking at it that way. A is we get information. We keep Vermont on board. We get some more information, not everything, but we get some more information to keep Vermont on board, and we keep moving forward on a three-time basis.
Right.
With the couriers. Option B, we all kind of felt was, we lose control of Vermont because we don't get anything about New York. As Vermont moves forward, and the U.S. Attorney's Office down there in Vermont says, look, he's not cooperating, we're going to charge him federally. The state says, he's not cooperating, we're going to charge him state-wise. That's kind of what could happen on Plan B, right?
Yeah.
I mean, are you with me so far?
I take your word for it, yeah.
Okay. Well, if you think that I'm telling you something like that, that's what I believe are two possible options here with the couriers. The moving forward option, or the stalling out option, in which case Vermont moves forward federally and state. Now, the state of Vermont does not even have a death penalty, but they would have an interest, as you can tell from their office. But for your cooperation and our working with them, the state of Vermont would want to charge you, right?
Right.
So the state of Vermont charges you. It's going to be a lengthy process to go forward with. So that's why I mean option B is a lengthy process. And they're not. No one's going to agree. Either the U.S. Attorney's Office in Vermont or the Vermont state prosecutors are not going to agree to any kind of a situation where they say, hey, great, we're going to move things along quickly and get Israel a sentence. Whether he wants the death penalty, whether he wants life in prison, whatever. We're going to go ahead and move forward with that and with the hope that at the last minute he's going to give us all this information, right? But they're just not going to enter into that kind of agreement. I just wanted you to know my thoughts on that. I don't speak for U.S. Attorney's Office in Vermont. I don't speak for the state prosecutors on that issue, but I think the reality is they're not going to just move things forward quickly there with the promise. With the idea of the promise from you that they'll learn everything eventually. They're going to want that first, right? I mean, that's
Right.
like basic negotiating things. So that, does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, the part you left out is that with option A is that if I continue to give them information, they can still do whatever they want as far as charging.
Look,
They don't have to give me their word on anything. I know
they don't, but they have, and they've given me their word. And so I think what you said was very insightful. Like, well, if you don't want to move things quickly, but you don't want them to be really slow, the quickly is, in my opinion, you tell us.
Right.
The slow is, you tell us nothing. What you said at the very end when we took a break was, hey, if I have to give you a little bit, each step along the way, keep things moving. That's in the middle. Things will move, they won't move as quickly, they won't move as slowly, but they'll move. So I'm asking you then today to give us the name of the person in New York has a little something. It's half a card, you can rip it in half, you give us the name, we move things forward.
No, it's not half a card. It's pretty, no.
Well, you give us the name today, I think we'll be back here next week, and you won't have heard peep of that. Nobody will have heard about it.
Well,
And it keeps things moving. We'll be sitting here next week. You won't even heard a thing. We'll sit the week after. You won't have heard a thing about it. Okay, because we're going to live up to our end of things. Because that's what is our commitment to keep that, to follow your goals. Here's what can happen today. You give me the name. I write it down. I don't ask any more questions. We all have some lunch. Talk about whatever you want to talk about. We have a cigar. We can talk about the weather. What's going on in Anchorage, whatever. I'll just write down the name, we have lunch, you have a cigar.
well, I mean, it sounds tempting, but no, I'm not giving the name. I'm not giving any names until I find out what my options are.
That's fine. You do what you need to do. We'll see if it changes next week. I think we'll be in single edition next week than we are today. And so by not acting, we're going towards Plan B. That's all. It's not a threat or anything like that. It's just saying, I gave Plan A, Path A, and Path B.
Right.
By doing nothing, we're kind of making
Right.
a choice.
No, I know. It's a
And,
reality.
I think you can take control of the situation today and let me write down that name. That's the control you have. Write down the name, and you see that next week nothing different is happening. It isn't out there. It hasn't impacted you. It's just allowed us to stay on Path A. So it's a decision that you can make today.
I think I appreciate what you're saying, but here's what I think we should do is set up a meeting probably later next week, a meeting just like this. If I don't get the information that I need by, I don't know, like I said, the next couple of days, then what's going to happen is you're probably going to get an email of a different sort of meeting that we're going to have.
Okay, that's up to you. So you're telling me, we're going to meet, we'll come and meet with you next week.
Yeah, I mean, I
Something's
assume you're going to want to do that regardless, but I'm saying that, it's been, what was the last time I was over here? It was like a week ago and I had already been trying to get to them. Yeah, so like I say, if I don't get the information I need this week, like the avenues that I'm trying to get it, then obviously that's not working, and I'll do something else.
That's up to you. That's your choice.
No, I know. I'm just saying it's a little bit, from my perspective, there's several different things going on. Trying to keep them all related in my head, and then trying to keep everything moving on all of them separate from each other, but still in the same direction is not an easy task, apparently. So. But, yeah, that'll at least give me some more time to get the information that I need. In the meantime, I had requested this from other avenues, but you had mentioned that there was news from Vermont. Was there a press release done or something? I know that they were coming up on the anniversary for their disappearance.
And that's what we wanted to tell you. And you say tomorrow is the anniversary.
How is it?
And so right now we have nothing to take to them. So what I wanted to accomplish today is to be able to tell them we got a name. I'm not going to tell them the name. I wanted to say, Vermont, we got a name. Stick with this. We know it's the anniversary. You got a lot of pressure tomorrow.
Right.
Stick with us.
Well, that was a concern I had because I know that that's like the media makes a big deal out of anniversaries.
Oh, and they're all over them. I know that, and that's what Vermont is wanting to know. I don't need to give Vermont the name. I just need to tell them, trust me, if you gave me the name. They're not going to know the name. I'm not going to do it to them. They don't have any reason to know. But that gives them a reason to stand firm.
Well, they already have a reason. I'm not going to give them that just so they have another reason.
Well, you're not giving it to them. You're giving it to me.
Well, at your behest or whatever.
Well, that's what we wanted you to know about. So, look.
Oh, trust me, I'll know about it. I don't care. It doesn't matter how many miles away. I imagine if my name pops up, I'm pretty sure it'll. Even as intense the media or the computer is, I imagine I'll hear about it here.
What's Vermont's reason to stand firm?
I don't know.
You said they already have a reason, so I'm curious as to what that reason is.
Well, I don't know. Uncommon sense, I guess. I'm sure that at this point they want to give themselves a pat on the back, but frankly they don't deserve one, so, that's their reason. If they were being honest with themselves, they would know they couldn't give themselves a pat on the back for that.
But they're going to say, hey, if Israel was being honest with himself, he would just tell you guys and move this thing along. That's their reaction to it.
No, I'm probably more honest with myself than anybody else.
You're just looking to hide? I mean, are you looking to hide the information? Is that what I'm getting there?
Yeah.
You're looking to hide it.
Well, I'll get it to you, especially if there's something in it for me. But it'd be better if my name wasn't attached to it from here till eternity or whatever.
And we told you before, we don't have a problem with that. We've demonstrated repeatedly that we have the ability to greatly influence that.
Right. No, I for now, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, yeah, I think we can keep. I think I could probably tell you everything today, and some being the case that it is, I'm sure we could probably keep stuff under wraps for a year, 2 years, whatever. I'm not worried about that.
So then
There you go.
What's the deal?
I'm worried about after that. Eventually, my name is going to be attached to it. So if there's a way that I can protect myself from that and still get you guys what you need, then I'm going to do it. I don't need to be punished for these other things that I haven't talked to you about yet because, all these other they can't prosecute a dead man, so it's like, what?
Right, but do you think anyone's going to really, do you think Vermont charges for the courage, do you think they're really going to give you the death penalty knowing that there's more things out there? Do you think they're going to say,
right,
let's
so
move forward?
See, I know.
You're in a catch-22, my friend.
I already fucked up. So.
You're in a catch-22, and we're offering you, what is, I think, your best bet. That's your call, buddy, but, you're in a catch-22 because Vermont U.S. Attorney's Office, Vermont State isn't going to rush forward and give you what you want, knowing that there's more information.
Right, they can't give me what I want anyway.
Well, They could charge you federally in Vermont with the carjacking resulting in the couriers. They haven't done that because they've trusted us that we're coordinating. They're not going to rush out there and give you some sentence, whatever it may be, while there's still information out there about unsolved crimes. We're offering what I consider catch-22. I wanted to make sure you understood that, right?
No, I know that.
And we're trying to work on the timing, the control of the media, you control how the story comes out. This is your opportunity. You control the story, you control the timing, you control the media. And by timing, I mean moving it quickly. The other alternative B is takes forever, possibly. You don't control any of the rest of the stuff. You may be right, they never get it, but then they're not going to just move forward knowing with the unknown. The middle ground, I think, is what you suggested at the end. You give me a name, I write it down, you have lunch and a cigar, and we all meet again whenever you want to meet again. And you're not going to hear anything about it between now and then.
No, I'm not.
Is Washington a better state?
No, whether we tackle one thing at a time, but I don't want to go into that New York trip anymore until I find out what's going on with Silverstone. And yeah, I'm also a little concerned about what they say tomorrow. It would be interesting to see if anything comes out, if they're able to resist the temptation.
Do you want to have any control on that?
I don't have any control on it.
Sure you do.
I could tell you everything today, and they could still say whatever they want.
Yeah, in theory, that's possible. Do you think they would? Do you think that if
I have no idea.
Do you think if I go to them, call them after we get done meeting and say, you got a piece of information, you got a name, I'm going to tell them what it is, but he's living up to his end of it, do you think they're really going to?
My suspicion is that no, they wouldn't say anything about it if you told them not to. I'm just saying from a realistic point of view, there's no guarantee.
There's no guarantee. I agree with you. Look, there's no guarantees. We don't know what the media is sniffing around and what they know. We can't guarantee that. We've never been talking about guarantees here. We're just working with the best we can do.
Yeah.
And once we go creep towards Plan B, Plan A might not be, will be more difficult to get back on.
Well, that's not really my call. That's more your call.
We respectfully disagree.
Yeah.
We think it's your call. I can't do anything. I mean, it doesn't embody goodwill of the other people who can say, these people need to talk, we're getting a little bit, we're moving in the right direction, we're going to stay on Plan A. Other than that, they're not going to find any. They're not going to find the body from what we told us.
No, I'm not worried about it.
sounds like you have nothing to lose.
More by giving, it's true, the body is, the name doesn't give you the body, but
Yeah,
there's a lot of other things.
I'm asking you for the most minimal thing that I can to keep this going in the right direction. We can meet again next week.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Like I said, I already told you guys too. Nothing has changed since last meeting on my end. I don't have any new information. Nothing has happened that I wanted to happen. So
Okay, we're just asking you from our perspective, if there's something we can do on the other crimes, we've done it. And from our perspective, I'm talking to you about other crimes, we're standing still and sliding backwards, and it's kind of, as I said, let's just call it depressing and frustrating. But that's what about other crimes. You make your decisions. We told you what we thought could help today. That's what it is.
yeah, help somebody.
I think it would help you. Understand. It's the catch.
Not in the long run.
You're in a catch-22 about that.
Yeah, I know. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to try and manage it.
Yeah, we're giving you the managed approach right now.
It's just, I just have too many unanswered questions right now. So.
All right. Well, in the interest of not wasting everybody's time and stuff, you said you wanted to meet late next week. You want to pick a day right now, Thursday, Friday? Both days are late next week. Do you have a preference?
Today, Thursday?
All right, hang tight, Israel. We'll be back.